Livestream, Real speaking, with yours truly every second and fourth Friday as of November 2021. You can contact us at the information on screen.
Welcome everyone to this our second broadcast, Real-Estatically speaking and more. Thank you all for joining us. And I trust that this afternoon or this evening, we'll all have a wonderful time as we have a very special guest from JMMB. And sure, she's going to really, give us all the details, all the tips that we need, the home buyers tips, so that we can realize those dreams that we always have of home ownership, how to fast track those dreams. So, we're a little behind. Sorry for the late start. Nonetheless, we will go right into it. All right, so this evening, I will start with a quote, a real estate quote, and it goes like this. 90% of all millionaires becomes so through owning real estate. And that quote was done by Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie. 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. And that is so, so true. So take heed, all of you, take heed. Had I known some things then that I know now, certain choices or certain decisions that I made, I would not have done so. But of course, you cannot turn back the hands of time. You just have to move with the times and do what you have to do. Once there is life, there is hope. Tonight's topic is investment or savings tips to help home buyers fast track their real estate dreams. Yeah. And with us tonight is a very special guest. And she's none other than Mrs. Davia Knox-Campbell, retail banker from the JMMB group. So without any further delay, I'm going to invite her on screen, and then she'll go right into her presentation. And of course, you can put your questions in the chat. You can put which of the social media network or platform you're viewing from. And you can put your name as well and your email address if you so choose. I would be happy to respond to you should you have any further queries and so on. So we would be happy to keep in touch with you so that, of course, we want you to help you to realize your real estate dreams. And this we can do by keeping in touch with you. And of course, you have my numbers. I will put it in the chat for those of you who don't have it. And if you have any questions while Mrs. Knox-Campbell is speaking, please put it in the group and we will answer. If she will take the answer, if she'll answer as we go along or as after the presentation, whichever way she chooses, we will do so. So I'll allow her to, choose the method that she would like to. So without further delay, I'll hand the floor over to Mrs. Knox-Campbell.
Hello. Hi. Are you hearing me, Mrs. Koch?
Yes, I am.
Okay, hi everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. So, as Mrs. Cook said, I'm a retail banking officer at JMMB Bank at the Horton Terrace branch, and basically, what I do, I help clients achieve their financial goals through loans and through savings. All right, that's what I do, and I enjoy what I do because it's a joy to help persons achieve their goals. Home ownership is the number one goal I believe most clients have, and it's a joy to help. So me being here tonight is just like, it's a no brainer. I couldn't miss getting this opportunity to share with you what I believe and all my team members believe are best practice tips to help you fast track your real estate dream. All right, so everyone knows owning real estate is a huge accomplishment. Certainly for me, when I was a little girl, it was a dream of mine to, apart from being a doctor, I always said to myself, I want to own my house by 25. And then as I get closer to 25, I say, okay, 30. And then. But yes, it's a huge milestone for all of us. And I remember when I bought my house, how happy I felt. I felt accomplished. It feels good. No more rent, no more landlord, living by the landlord rules. I remember the last landlord, the last property I was renting, they couldn't have children because they were concerned about their walls. And I just felt good to know that this these four walls are going to be mine, right? So it's a good feeling, and I'm here tonight to help you to feel the same way, if not better, how I felt back then. So this is me when I got the house years ago. It was a joy after getting that key, to actually feel it and go in the house, and it feels real good. But I should tell you, it wasn't always like that. I went through a mirage of emotions, right? Up to that time. So at one point, I would feel, did I really make the right decision? Should I take this on now? Another time I was like, oh my God, this thing is taking so long. And sometimes I feel disappointed. Like, my attorney will give me a certain timeline to get certain documents done. And then when to get the phone call from our secretary to say, oh, I'm sorry, Davia, but it's gonna take another 4 weeks. So I went through a mirage of emotions. This one here, I'm screaming, oh my God, how long this thing is taking. Right. And then sometimes I feel like, okay, whatever. Whenever it happened, it happened. All right. So we know that home ownership is dear to everyone's heart. But since owning a home is not your only goal, we are here to help you. So tonight I want to give you some tips, 7 tips to help you fast track your real estate dream. So right here, I'm gonna put on the slide the 7 tips, and then I'm gonna go in detail. So tip number 1, discover what you want or can afford. And I hope we're taking notes because, as I said, these are best practices I've seen where they have helped a lot of people, right? I wish I had this information before I started. So I really would like for you to make some notes, either mental notes or you could write them down. And I promise you won't regret it. So tip number 1, discover what you want and can afford. Be realistic as well. Opt for a house that will not jeopardize other financial dreams. Remember, one day you have to retire. So, you don't want a house where the monthly payment is so high, you can't find any extra to save towards anything else. If, God forbid, you're a woman and you become pregnant and you have to do a C-section, and that cost to do that, you're gonna need some monies to do that. And C-section, they're not cheap. So you need to opt for a house that will not jeopardize your other financial dreams. Prepare by having an emergency fund. And as I said, I'll go in detail. Next, save enough for a down payment. This is very, very important. Try not to borrow the down payment if you don't have to, and I'll show you why later down in the slide. Also, repair your credit and lower your debt burden. Practice paying the mortgage, and finally obtain a mortgage with best interest at heart. So I'm going to go in detail with each of them. So tip number one, which is know how much you are comfortable repaying per month. Well, look at these figures. Look at them carefully. So there are two scenarios here where the cost of this house number one I call it, is 27.7 million. The next one is 38.7 million. Right? Most persons would want to use their NHT benefits, which I personally recommend because the rates are really good. They're really lower than all the banks' rates. So if you have an NHT benefit, I personally recommend you retrieving that benefit. So this house of 27.7 million, at the rate of, but at NHT's rate at 4%, that's the cap. That's the highest they will possibly charge now for persons in the public service. It's far less. Sometimes it's 0%, but I'm just using worst case, which is 4% right now. And the most I can get from NHG is 6.5 million. So the monthly payment for the most I can get from NHG is around 28,780. And then from us at JMMB, you will get 19,815,000. Reason being, NHG and us, we are allowed to lend no more than 95% of the cost of the property. Right? So that's 95% of the cost. All clients are required to find at least 5% deposit. So in this scenario, house number one, the total monthly payment between NHG and us would be $116,516.17. That's $116,516.17. For house number two, which is a little bit pricier, 38.7 as opposed to 27.7, the monthly payment jumps from 116 to 216,852.07. And ladies and gentlemen, believe you me, a mortgage house price for this in this range, right? Here's my slide. This is the Ruthven Towers. A lot of controversy surrounded it in recent times, but that's the price that the 1 and 2 bedroom units are going for respectively. So if you're interested in one of these houses, you're looking at mortgages of this amount, right? 116, about 117,000 for the 1 bedroom. And for the 2 bedroom, you're looking at around 217,000. So I just want you to take a careful look at these figures. Remember, this tip is about know what you can afford, right? So for persons who will be interested in the Ruthven Towers, we're looking at around 117,000 to 217,000. Now I have another scenario. Was that a question? Oh no. All right, I have another scenario where these two houses now, one is priced at 11.75 million. The next one is 16 million. Again, using the NHG benefits as well as JMMB mortgage, the monthly payment, the total monthly payment for the 11.75 million property, it's at approximately 58,000, whereas a $16 million property, it's approximately 83,000. And again, did some research and price it, the house in this price range is around, looking at houses at the Phoenix Village in Portmore, albeit the 11.75 million houses have been sold out, I get to understand, but I think probably the 16 millions will be available still. So just to give you an idea of what the monthly payments and mortgages of these magnitudes are. So So like for the root rent towers thereabout, you're looking at around 117 to 217,000 a month. And for a property like a Phoenix Park in Portmore, you're looking at 58,000 to around $83,000 a month. So it would be nice for you to drop in the chat what are your thoughts on these and if these figures are feasible for you to afford. Mrs. Cook, you can assist me by checking if there are any feedback in the chat
Not as
because
yet. Not as yet.
although because I'm seeing only my slides at the moment. So just
Not
to
as
give
yet.
just to give you some realistic figures, this is what's out there. All right. So JMMB, if there are gaps, if you look at it and say, boy, I love Root, I love the location. It's in St. Andrew. It's near everywhere central. But there are some gaps. JMMB, we at JMMB, we will help you. We will help you to analyze your budget. So you're coming to us and tell us what you can afford, and we'll help to bridge those gaps. We will also give you a pre-approval. So based on your current situation, we will assess and tell you, okay, Mr. Brown, Mrs. Brown, you're pre-approved for X dollars based on your current situation now. We'll also give you financial coaching. So for instance, the pre-approval comes out at a figure that can only land you a nice property in a garrison area then, for instance, and you don't want that, right? We give you financial coaching. We help you. We give you savings tips. We introduce you to some of our investment accounts to help you to bridge the gap to get to where you really want to go. Are there any questions for me yet?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Seen from Haji Harrison.
Hi,
And
Haji.
he said, I'm interested in purchasing a property. So, Haji,
Right. So
what
you're at the right place.
you're at the right place. So, what I'll advise, as soon as she's through with this presentation, you're gonna listen on to this presentation, and as soon as she's through, you can speak with me, and I'll give you the contact, or I can put the contact in the chat as well for her, so that you can
Right.
contact her to do the pre-approval with her, and thereafter we can speak about finding a home for you.
Okay. Thanks for that, Haji. All right. So that was tip number one. Discover what you want and what you can afford. All right. So tip number two, you're going to ensure that owning this house does not jeopardize you achieving your other goals. So look at this couple. And by this tip, I'm going to go back to it, to ensure that you own this house and it does not jeopardize you achieving your other goals. At this juncture, I want to say it's important for you to have a conversation with your significant other, if there's a significant other in the picture, or your financial advisor, or your best friend, or close family member. Just to assist you to crunch the numbers to see, if owning the house that you have your eyes on, if it's the right choice in terms of the price range, just to find out whether or not it will just cause you to just be eating cornmeal porridge every day because you can't afford anything else. It's important to have a conversation with a financial advisor, your spouse, someone very close to you, to help you to make that decision. So I'm going to give you a scenario with this couple where they're looking at options. So they're looking at a house that is being sold for 18 million. Now, using the JMMB mortgage alone, I didn't calculate for NHG in this one, but the JMMB mortgage alone, the monthly payment will be $106,262.22. Call it $107,000 for the $18 million house. For the $17 million house, it costs a little bit less. The monthly payment will be a little bit less. It will be $100,358.77. So it's a $1 million difference with a savings of $5,903.45. It might look small, but it does add up. So the husband is saying, let's take option one, because $1 million gives us this extra $5,900 towards Karen's education. Karen is their daughter. His wife, however, prefers option two. So you see, this is where the conversation part comes in, when you don't want to buy a house that will jeopardize, your future goals or any short-term goals. So the wife is saying option two is better because it's a better rental property. She's saying they could rent it for 2 years, and then that money will give them, will allow them to save towards their daughter Karen's education. The husband again said, no, let's take a less expensive property. And later the equity can be used to purchase an even nicer place. We could also afford a car too. Smart man. And his wife is saying, no, let's purchase with a larger down payment to make it more affordable. It's a great property for retirement income in local areas. So both of them have, but again, it's a conversation piece, and it requires, for both parties to agree. But both of them have their solid points. But at the end of the day, it boils down to what they think they can afford in relation to their goal. In this case, the other goal is for carrying their daughter's education. So that was tip number two. You must opt for a house that will not jeopardize your other financial dreams. For tip number three, we want you to ensure you have the equivalent of 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in an emergency fund. Let me repeat, because this is very important. Ensure you have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in an emergency fund. Many a times I've seen where persons, after acquiring their house, things just happen. It's a thing when you're buying your house, it's like you don't usually see certain things until you're actually the owner, and then sometimes all hell just break loose and you need monies to fix the roof or fix that or fix that. So it's very important for you to have at least three, right? 3 months worth of expenses and emergency fund. So looking at this slide, I'm asking, who is responsible? So you own the house now and you have a busted pipe. Who is responsible? You, the owner. Termite infestation. You, the owner. It's no longer the landlord problem. It's your problem because you're now a owner. So we have to budget for all of these things just in case these emergency situations that present themselves. Electrical work, repair the cracks in the wall, you will be responsible for all of those things. So always have the equivalent of 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in an emergency fund. What this does is also protect you from emergency debt. So rather than running to the bank to try and get an unsecured loan, for instance, right, to cover this emergency debt, you would have had your savings, right, to cover, which it's better in most cases, especially after obtaining a mortgage. You want to keep your loans at a minimum. You don't want to be borrowing too much. So that was tip number three. My fourth tip is to ensure you have enough money for the deposit and the closing costs. This is very, 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 very important. I was asked at one point, being in the bank, what would I have done differently to, when I back then when I didn't know much as I know now, what would I have done differently? And my answer was I would have saved for the deposit, because I had to borrow the deposit. I was very young at the time. I had to borrow the deposit and borrow it at an unsecured loan rate, which is a little bit higher than a mortgage loan, right? And that in itself was a little bit burdensome. I pulled through, but it was burdensome. So if I can avoid borrowing deposit, I would encourage you, we encourage you to do so. So as a general rule, people ask this all the time, how much money I should budget whenever I want to buy a house? The general rule is to budget an additional 10% of the purchase price. And I'm going to show you why. So going back to that Ruth Ventora's house, the upper end one that cost 38.7 million, I checked with a good evaluator I know, a good friend of mine, how much he would charge. And their rate is usually 0.25% of the value of the property, not the sale price, the value of the property. That will work out to around 100,000 thereabouts for the valuation. You're gonna need a survey ID report. I put it at around 50. Might be more, might be less, but around 150. Deposit now it would be 5% because we lend 95% between us and NHG if you're gonna use the joint finance program, or if it's us alone, it's still 95% maximum. So this will be your 5% deposit on this Root Ventora's property, 1,935,000. Also, you have to budget for stamp duty, right? These are parts of the closing costs that your attorney will bill you for. The stamp duty, sorry, the stamp duty is for JMMB. So for us to register a mortgage to purchase a property that costs $38.7 million, the stamp duty works out to this 192,605. The legal fees now, this is what the lawyer will bill you for as a part of the closing costs. You have to pay half of the agreement for sale, slipped me a while ago, fee. So you pay half and the person who is selling, the vendor, pays half, and that's around 50,000 flat fee there. Professional help, which is your attorney's fee. Attorneys charge between 3 and 5% of the purchase price of the property. So this is using the 3%. So for a property being sold for 38.7 million, you're looking at around 1,161,000 for the attorney, because that's their rate. And the rate that they charge, it depends on relationship really. So if you know an attorney, they usually will heavily discount their fees to you. Some persons are even very kind. It's pro bono, right? But for total strangers, they can charge you anywhere between 3 to 5% of the purchase price of the property. The mortgage cost, this is commitment fee, or what most persons will call the loan processing fee. So here at JMMB, our loan processing fee or our commitment fee is 1.5% plus GCT of the loan amount. So when you take all these into consideration for this Ruth Ventura house, apartment, sorry, that's being sold for 38.7 million, you'd be required to budget around 4.2 million dollars in term to cover the legal fees, the stamp duty, and your 1%, your 5%, sorry, deposit. All right, any questions at this juncture? We're clear. I want it to be simple. I want to understand exactly, because home, it's not as complex as most persons make it seem. And that's why we at JMMB, we simplify everything. We point out everything to you from the onset to know exactly, just to let you know how much to budget for. And we guide you through the process for it to be smooth and for it to be nice and concise. So for this Woodbend Towers property, you're looking at $4,181,176.25. And this includes your 5% deposit, as well as the other fees, the stamp duties, the loan processing fee, the lawyer's charge, using a 3% charge. So that's for the upper end of the Ruth Bend. I also did a calculation for a Phoenix Village property, $16 million property. Again, for the survey and valuation, the valuation is around 0.5% of the market value of the property. So survey and valuation for this will be around 80,000. 5% deposit works out to 800,000. The stamp duty to register the mortgage, it works out to 84,780. The legal fees that your attorney will require from you is 30,000. And then again, you and the vendor, you'll pay the agreement for sale. So the sale agreement, you pay around the 50,000, pay the attorney or 3%, and then the mortgage cost or the loan commitment fee, right? It's 262,200, which gives a grand total of $1,786,980. So you can look at the difference for, and go back, for a property being sold for 38.7 million, you're looking at approximately $4.2 million for you to come up with on your part. Whereas a 16 million, looking at approximately 1.8 million. So remember, always budget for an additional 10% of the cost of the property. That's a general rule. All right, so can I get some feedback as to how what are your thoughts on those figures? You look manageable, you're ready to go and buy, ready to make an offer to Mrs. Cook. May I have some feedback, please? Mrs. Cook, can you tell me what's happening in the chat? Because I can't see from my end.
Well, I have someone who said she will call you, Sandra Otti. So Sandra
Okay.
Otti will call you next week because Sandra needs to do her, I guess she needs to do her pre-approval. So
Oh, I know,
you
Miss.
can listen out for a call from her.
All right. Any more comments in the chat?
Not right now.
All right then. So I hope I'm very clear. I hope we are all learning. I told Mrs. Cook earlier that it's a joy for me to impart knowledge. I love to help persons achieve their goals. It really warms my heart. So I'm gonna continue. So if there are gaps, right, and you need to save, if you don't have this 4.2 million or this 1.8 million right now, and you need to save towards it, you don't want to borrow, you can look. You just tell yourself, okay, I have a goal to raise $5 billion in 5 years. This is a scenario now. And suppose you have $100,000 as your initial investment. You come to the bank and say, here, Davia, here's 100,000. I can afford to put $50,000 on it every month, right? Put it in savings for me, the highest savings rates possible, and tell me how much it will be. I would say to you, well, Ms. Otti, it's going to be $3.3 million in 5 years. Remember, your goal is 5 million, so there's a shortfall of 1.7 million. And believe you me, this is what's happening to most persons now, where what they can afford to save, it's the most of the time there's a little shortfall. And that's where we come in to assist. We'll say to the same person, try and increase the savings to 83,000 in order to achieve that goal of 5 million, right? Because in 5 years' time, that 83,000 will work out to 5.3 million when we put it in a nice conservative account here at JMMB. So we will encourage you to see if you can increase your savings amount from the 50 to the 83,000 per month. So that's a part of the financial education. Again, if there are gaps further down, I will share with you how we will achieve bridging that gap. So my next tip is to know your credit history and know if you are comfortable with adding a mortgage to any existing debt. Now, credit history is very, very important. I don't know if we all know, but Jamaica, we now have credit bureaus. We have two credit bureaus in Jamaica. We have CRIF NM, they're in Winchester Business Center, and we have Credit Info, they're in New Kingston here, right? So what they do, they gather information from all of us, all financial institutions, and they Based on how you are servicing your facilities, both loans and credit cards, they will determine a credit score, which will assist us to know if we should lend you based on your history and based on your score. So it's very important to know your credit history and chiefly your credit score, and to know if you're comfortable with adding a mortgage to an existing debt. Because the truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, a poor credit score can it will make you ineligible for any loan at all, not only mortgage. Once your credit score is poor, because we are now interconnected through the credit bureau and we can know what your history is like, it will be difficult for you to get any loan anywhere from any financial institution, from any bank, that is. All right. So it's very important for you to just, service your facilities well, satisfactory, and not have any debts that go bad. We're at JMMB again. We understand sometimes things happen. We will book our toll along the way, and something might go bad. The popular one is our credit card, where probably you weren't taught how to properly manage a credit card, and it goes out of whack. And you just find yourself, just you pay 30,000 on it, and it's like you're paying 5,000 because all of it is eaten off by interest. So we understand that these things happen, and we do not write you off when that happens. What we do ask though is for that debt to be closed. It has to be closed. It's a BOJ requirement, right? It has to be closed, and we ask for it to be closed for a year before we are able to give you another credit, be it in the form of a mortgage or an unsecured loan or a car loan. We are flexible in that, even though our guidelines say 1 year must pass, if it's really a very good reason and we see where most of it wasn't really your fault, we will say, okay, 6 months after you close it, give us a talk. We'll see how we can assist you with getting another loan. All right. So it's very good to maintain a very good credit history, a very good credit score, in order to fast track your dream of owning real estate. So again, we will fix your credit score if it turns out to be poor. And how do we fix it? I have a current situation here where this young man, he has 3 credit cards. Most of us don't know, but the credit card interest rate is very, very high, much higher than even an unsecured loan. It ranges between 49, and I think some banks it goes up to 52 or 54% per annum. So the moment you are late on your payments, right? And the moment you do not pay off your balance in full, you are charged interest. It might look small for the first month or 2 months, but it accumulates. And that's where you're in the red, where it can become a bad debt facility and it can put that blot on your credit report. So you want to avoid that. So this current situation, this young man, he has 3 credit cards, 2 unsecured loans, and a motor vehicle loan. And these are the amounts for each of them: 100,000 each for the credit cards, 200,000 each for the unsecured loan, and 500,000 for the motor vehicle loan. So in total, his facilities, the balance on his facilities total 1 million. And using a weighted average, that works out to around 20% interest rate. So we can consolidate this young man's debt and improve his financial situation, where his current situation is paying $1 million at 20%. His monthly payment will be around 33 to 34,000. And what we do at JMMB, we look at his situation. So the first thing that jump out is that he has a car, and car loans or equity loans, they come with a much lower interest rate. And lower interest rate means lower monthly payment, right? So I will say to him, consider doing a motor vehicle equity loan, right? Where rather than paying 20% interest, you're paying 7.5% interest. Yes, the tenure may be a little bit longer, but it works out in your favor in that your monthly payment reduces from 33 or 34,000 to 20 or 21,000 a month. Look at the savings, look at the difference. $13,259 difference per month. Interest rate is paying 12.5% less. Right? So all is not lost for him. Just by looking at his situation and find a solution to put him in a better position. That's what we do here. Right? So he has $13,000 extra. So think of it this way. This 13,000 would be like a nest egg where he plants his 13,259 by putting it in a savings account here at JMMB, saving it, right? And in 60 months, the same 5-year period, just by consolidating his debt. And this figure 795,540, this doesn't include any interest rate. This is just the raw 13,259 per month for 5 years works out to this. But with interest, it will be a little bit more. So by consolidating, it frees up. As a matter of fact, looking at this situation, this young man, he really was just giving his money away to the bank, right? Because if you can save 13,000 a month, the bank is now giving him interest on his money, whereas in the previous situation, he was giving us. It's like free money for us, right? So it's good to look at your situation and see what you can consolidate in order to put yourself in a far, far, far better situation. So we can have a sit down and you determine what your goal or your goals are. You determine your timeline, and together we determine the cost, right? We will also what we do on our side, we assess your risk tolerance. We create the right portfolio mix based on your risks. If you're conservative, right, or if you can take a little bit more risk, you're aggressive. We determine that by asking you certain questions, and then based on the answers, we'll know what portfolio mix is right for you. And then, of course, we'll manage that portfolio to get the optimal returns. Look at this situation again. So after we have a sit down with you and we determine, okay, you're moderate. You're not really conservative, but you're not aggressive either. You're in the middle. So using that same scenario where it's $100,000 you have, that's the lump sum you have. Your goal is to get to $5 million in 5 years. You can afford the $83,000 in this scenario. With portfolio management at JMMB, we can we can invest your funds in instruments that will give you projected returns of around 8.4%. So in our regular savings account before in the previous slides, it will be around 3 thereabout for other accounts, but for really more aggressive portfolio management, you're looking at projected returns of around 8.4%. And in 5 years' time, this will work out to $6,060,000. Now, what this does is give this young man choices. So before he was, there was a shortfall before, but now with portfolio management and robust investing, it now gives him choices. He can achieve his goal faster, right? Whereas in the first scenario, it was for 5 years. It was for 5 years for him to save $50,000 a month. But in this other scenario, where we do some aggressive portfolio management, and he has consolidated his debts now, and he can afford $83,000 monthly, right? He achieve his goal faster in 4 years and 3 months as opposed to the 5 years. He also will be able to accumulate more. If he should go the full 5 years, he has an extra $1 million, because remember, at the projected returns of 8.4%, the total achieved amount is 6,060,000, which is why here in the second point here, he accumulates more in the time period. And lastly, the last choice he has is he can reduce his monthly savings from the 83,000 to 70,000 in order to achieve that 5 million. So either he goes ahead with the 83,000, right, and achieve the 6 million in 5 years, or just reduce his savings from 83 to $70,000 to achieve that same to achieve 5 million in 5 years. So he's left with choices, and that's what we do at JMMB. We help you, we tailor the portfolio based on your goals and help you to achieve those goals. All right. So tip number 6. Practice paying your mortgage by saving the exact amount. What do I mean by that? Remember the slides where I show you the Phoenix, the Phoenix property as well as the Ruthven. Remember those monthly payments? Right. It's time to practice paying those amounts by not eliminating the things you love but by reducing them. So I know that especially us ladies love shoes. You just reduce the amount of money you spend on shoes. Um, Rather than going on an expensive vacation, just, have a nice laid back one just to save on some money. Reduce the fine dining, the eating out. Well, COVID kind of forcing us to do that. And also, eating, the buying the fast food, it's a little bit more costlier than preparing food at home, for instance. So we encourage you to, in order to save, just to reduce on some of the things that you expend on. We also encourage you to, increase the amount you save per month. Try, based on your budget, of course, based on what you can afford, try to increase month over month if possible, right? It goes a far way. I've seen where it has helped many, many clients as well. So this is something that we encourage our clients to do. Try and increase your savings month over month if possible. And my last tip, which I think is very, 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 very important, is having an excellent loans officer and realtor. It's very important for you to have these professionals in your pocket to help to make your experience so much easier. Someone that's knowledgeable, right? So you have Mrs. Coke here as the realtor who very knowledgeable in the field, will be able to find as best as possible the property of your dreams based on your budget, and also your loan officer, right, to help you through the process. You don't want a case where, like in my slide, when before I was happy, I was miserable sometimes, disappointed sometimes. You want a loan officer that will set the expectations for you and basically hold your hand through the process to make it so much easier. And here's our promise to you at JMMB. We will educate and we keep it simple. It's very, very important. We try not to use bank jargons to you, We break it down. We print the things for you. We will show you. We'll itemize what each step of the process is if needs be. Some persons would prefer it in email format, right? So we do all of that to keep it simple and for us to be on the same page. And I'm just gonna just share with you at JMMB our brand promise, where our clients are at the heart of what we do. We are their financial companion with their best interests at heart. Um, we are not the type of persons that will say, no man, come, we can do this and do that. When we know that probably if you go somewhere else, it will work out better for you, right? It's all about having your best interest at heart. So we are not afraid or ashamed to tell you, say, okay, with this one, I think it's best you just, go down the road there or something. Doesn't happen a lot of times, though, I should tell you. But I just want you to know that's how we are here. It's all about you and your best interest. We promise to give you expert advice and deliver fair, simple solutions to achieve your goals. Being in your world, we go beyond banking and offer a unique experience across our group locations. You do your part and we'll do our part, right? So I want you to take in these tips. As I said, they are best practices. They will help you, right? Chiefly, as I said, when you have a financial partner and a realtor to help to guide you, that's very important, right? So we need you to do your part. We need you to keep your credit report nice and clean to make you what I call, I made up this word, loan ready, right? So you do your part because after all is said and done, if you already know you get your deposit, you wait your 5 years and everything, and then you say, okay, Dave, you're ready for the mortgage. You want to pull your credit report. I want to see a big red on it. I see bad debt credit card can't help you. So you really, really need to do your part. And if there's anybody on this platform now that has a facility that went bad, don't be don't be disheartened. It's not the end of the world, right? Just work on closing it. You can call the financial institution. They That's what they want. No bank wants to write off a debt. Prefer to collect some than none at all. Just don't be afraid, don't be ashamed to call if they have not called you. If they have stopped calling you, don't be afraid to go in and work out some form of a payment arrangement to close it so that when we pull your credit report, yes, it will be there, but yes, we'll see the nice big sign there, closed. Because once it says open, we cannot assist you. So we really need you to do your part, keep your credit score clean, your credit report clean, sorry, and we'll do our part. We'll do everything we can to assist you with achieving this very, very, very important milestone in your life. Now, what's our part? We have a sure can do attitude, right? We do not give up easy. So if you come to us and the property that you wanted, it looks like it cannot be achieved, we have a sure can do. We look at and see if we can consolidate any debt. We ask you if you have any spouse. Is your mother? Are you okay with having a joint loan? We find solutions to help you achieve your goal, right? We try not to turn back anybody without moving every stone possible. We trying to find every alternative there is. And we also explain the details. We don't give you just, fine print. We don't have anything in fine print that we don't tell you what it's about. So we explain as we go along so we know we're on the same page. Of course, we're very knowledgeable of the products that we offer and the services, and we will definitely, definitely help you achieve not only your home ownership goals, but all your financial goals. Now, I want to share with you the benefits of our mortgage here at JMMB. Where, as I said before, we give 95% financing, 95% of the sale price or market value, whichever is lower. Now, there are instances where the market value is lower than the sale price, right? So some persons will just love the property so much, and a lot of persons are after it, and the market value is say 10 million, and they will make a bid for 11. If it's a case like that, the 95% financing will be on the 10 million, whichever is lower. And it is possible. I've seen it happen before. We also give you 35 years to repay or years left for you to retire, whichever comes first. Well, we're having a promotion now where we give you a 2 months payment holiday. The first 2 months, that is. I should have had first there. So the first 2 months, you don't have to pay. You can opt for that. We'll have that conversation in the initial stage of the mortgage process where we'll discuss because, again, in the spirit of telling you everything up front, if you opt for the payment holiday, it slightly increases your monthly payment. It's not a lot, but it's an increase nonetheless, right? But it helps persons in that Again, based on like what I showed you with the price, the cost, the out of pocket costs, sometimes they are so drained where the 2 months really help them, despite the fact that the monthly payment for the mortgage might go up a little bit, not a lot. There's no penalty for early repayment. So we also encourage that too. So if you have any lump sum payments, you can always come in and say to us you want to pay this lump sum towards your mortgage principal. It does help. It reduces the tenure of the mortgage and also reduces the total interest that you will pay on the mortgage. Unlike other institutions, we do not pay legal fees, right? Our clients, sorry, do not pay legal fees because we have in-house attorneys. So that's not charged. That's not a charge to you for our mortgage products. But some institutions, you will see a line item there in their list of fees to you, attorney's fees. But for us, there are no attorney's fees. Good turnaround time. No, on average, once all documents are given to us and everything is in order, we get a response within 5 business days from our credit risk department as to whether or not the mortgage is approved. Right? So within 5 business days, once all documents are received, you will get a response from us in terms of the decision. Also, our mortgage product comes with an unsecured loan feature where we'll say to you, you will be eligible up for unsecured loan up to $1 million to help you with other costs. For instance, you want to buy some furniture for the property, you can always opt for this. Of course, it's subject to you meeting our debt servicing requirement. For the JMMB mortgage, we allow a breach of our debt servicing requirement, which, by the way, is 45%. And for those of us who want to know what debt servicing requirement or ratio means, it is what we're saying at JMMB. We're saying all your loans, all the monthly payments for your loans, and the monthly payments for your credit card, and the monthly payment for the mortgage you're seeking from us, it must not be more than 45% of your gross monthly salary. All right, so you're going to find what your gross monthly salary is, find 45% of that figure, whatever figure that is. All your monthly payments for the loans, including the mortgage that you want, must not be more than that figure. However, what I'm saying is for our JMMB mortgage, we will allow probably a 47, even 49% TDSR, just because we know how difficult it is at times after obtaining a mortgage, in terms of getting your furniture and other stuff. So we will help you in that regard. And of course, we partner with the National Housing Trust for you to have a one-stop shop under our JMMB NHG Joint Finance Mortgage Program, where you'll just come to us with the documents. You don't go to NHG, you just come to us and we'll do all that back-end processing for you. Your monthly payment for the mortgage will come to us, and again, we will bring over to NHG their portion. So you don't have to be going between two institutions, us and NHG. Just come here and we do everything under the Joint Finance Mortgage Program. And also, right now, under our promotion, JMMB Mortgage Promotion, we give you discount vouchers for Appliance Traders Limited, because we find that our clients tend to like the appliances that they offer. Again, that's been in our clients' world. Also, at Spaces Jamaica, this is a company that sells like furniture, and most open houses, well, I won't say most, but several open houses you go and you see, oh, it's nicely done, nicely decorated. Spaces Jamaica, they have a presence there, so we give you discount vouchers there as well. And Hawkeye for either your car alarm, or for the house, the property you you are acquiring. I want you to know that your home and your other goals are within your grasp. It might look daunting to most persons. You think, oh, probably I'm too young, probably I'm not earning enough money. But I want to tell you that your home and your other goals are within your grasp. And it's as easy as JMMB. Come in, speak to us, we'll assist you. If you're not quite there yet in terms of affording the house that you want, again, we will help to bridge the gap. We'll look at your situation, right, and see how we can assist you in bridging that gap. All right, and that's it for me in terms of the presentation. Are there any questions? Mrs.
Yes,
Cook, any
there
questions?
was a question. There was a question from Marie School. Anyone can anyone can partner for a joint loan?
Yes.
All right.
There
So
can be a friend. You just need to know the implications for the mortgage. I'm talking mortgage this time. You just know the implications. Um, you can have a joint tenancy situation or a tenant in common where one, if you should die in one scenario, which is the joint tenant, if you should die, the surviving partner automatically, gets ownership, total ownership of the house, the property. Whereas the other scenario, tenants in common, you have a set amount. So if you should die, it doesn't pass over to the other person. They have probably 50% stake in it, and you have the next 50. Whoever your estate names as your beneficiary will get your 50. So that's where, in terms of the joint loan situation, to ensure estate planning, your attorney will be the best person to advise you as to how you should register it as joint tenants or tenants in common.
all right.
Right.
So
Questions?
any further questions?
So those are our
Not
7 tips.
seeing any more questions. So you have given us a whole mouthful of all the suite of products that JMMB will assist their clients with to achieve their real estate goal. And no one as of now should really have any problem in terms of, knowing exactly where to go to get all the information they need and really realize their real estate dream. So it starts off with saving, and of course, I can identify with what you said earlier on, in terms of not not having the deposit on hand, right, and having to take a loan, and the squeeze that it can have on you mentally and physically and the family on a whole, when you're not properly prepared for this home ownership acquisition. And tonight we want to thank Davia Knox-Campbell from JMMB Group to come and to share all these tips, very important tips that we need to really put in motion, put in action, and realize there's no reason why, we shouldn't, those of us who have not yet realized that dream, that we should not do so, because it may look daunting at first, but as the saying goes, knowledge is power. And so, had I known some things that I knew now, then that I knew now, certain decisions, as I said earlier, certain decisions I made, I definitely would not have made it. But with COVID is a bad thing and it's a good thing in that it has allowed us, a lot of us to learn. Thank you very much, Miss Ati. To learn or to be learning quite a number of things that we would not have otherwise, been learning, a lot of us are more, should be at this point, should be more, as I would want to put it, financial education is important. Financial education is key. So I believe that this is even a topic that should be taught in school, because a lot of us, the reason why we make the kind of decisions we make, the foolish decisions that some of us have made over the years, is as a result of lack of knowledge. And the Bible is right when the Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So I want to thank you again. With that said, and we have come to the end of another broadcast. And I just want to thank you all, our viewers who were able to be on this set tonight. And of course, we will definitely rebroadcast it or repost it. It is there saved, and we repost it so that, those of you who want to watch it in your own time, that you can do so. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just want to play our jingles once again and, be out of here.
KMC Property Services, making your real estate dream a reality.